If you're looking for the very best Taika Waititi movies of all time, you've come to the right place. What's up, everybody? Your friendly neighborhood Tony here, and before we get started, I want to be very clear. These are not my favorite Taika Waititi movies of all time, or the highest grossing, or anything like that. Instead, through the power of the internet and some very basic math, I've sorted out which movies are ranked the highest by both fans and critics alike the world over, and sorted them by average score. So if you like Taika Waititi and you're looking for some movie recommendations, I got you. If that all sounds good, I'd love it if you'd consider subscribing, or at least just clicking that little like button down there. It really makes a world of difference. All right, without further ado, let's get started with number 5. And that is the 2019 comedy drama Jojo Rabbit. Written and directed by Taika Waititi, Jojo Rabbit takes place in Nazi-run Germany during World War II. It follows a young German boy involved in the Hitler Youth who, along with his imaginary friend Adolf, played by Taika Waititi, discovers that his mother, played by Scarlett Johansson, is hiding a young Jewish girl in their home. In addition to Taika Waititi and Scarlett Johansson, Jojo Rabbit also stars Sam Rockwell, Rebel Wilson, Stephen Merchant, and Alfie Allen, who was Theon Greyjoy in Game of Thrones. Jojo Rabbit was a pretty significant success at the box office, making $90 million on a $14 million budget. It also received very positive reviews for the most part. Some critics did take offense to it making light of a very serious time in human history, but most were able to see beyond that, some even referring to it as an anti-hate fractured fairy tale. Jojo Rabbit was nominated for 6 Oscars, for what that's worth, and 1 for Best Adapted Screenplay. I'm a pretty big fan of irreverent and dark humor, and I appreciate how Taika can balance absurdity with genuine heartstring tugging emotion. So overall, this was a big win for me. If you want to check out Jojo Rabbit, I will link to the Blu-ray in the description box below. I will tell you, it is also available on 4K Blu-ray, although the picture quality, in my opinion, is not really worth the upgrade. And in the 4K Blu-ray, you don't even get Dolby Atmos or any other upgraded audio or additional special features for that matter. So save yourself a few bucks. Just go with the Blu-ray. All right, next up on the list, coming in at number 4, is the 2010 comedy drama Boy. Boy was Taika Waititi's second feature film and follows the 11-year-old main character referred to throughout the movie as Boy, who is a massive Michael Jackson fan living in New Zealand in 1984. In the movie, Boy gets a chance to get to know his criminal and absentee father, who has returned to find a bag of money that he buried years ago. Boy stars James Rolston as the title character, and Taika Waititi, who plays the pretty sketchy father. I'm not sure what the budget was for Boy, but it made over $8 million at the box office, so I imagine it did just fine. On its release in New Zealand, it actually ended up making more money on its first day than any other New Zealand film to date. Boy also received largely positive reviews, with many critics praising Taika's offbeat charm, as well as his ability to draw in viewers emotionally. It's definitely more of a slower-paced character exploration, but everyone in the movie honestly feels so authentic. And honestly, it's kind of relatable, which says a lot about my childhood. Boy is currently streaming on Showtime if you have a paid subscription, but you can also get it on Plex TV and Vudu for free, so you're welcome. Oddly enough, there is no Blu-ray or 4K Blu-ray available, but there is a DVD, so I'll link that for you in the description if you're into that kind of thing. All right, coming in at number 3 is a very small independent film that you've probably never heard of. It's 2017's Thor Ragnarok. Fun fact, Ragnarok is actually the only movie on this list in which Taika does not have a writing credit, which is weird because it most definitely has his creative stamp all over the movie. Thor Ragnarok takes place 2 years after the events of Age of Ultron, where Thor finds himself in a desperate struggle to save his homeworld Asgard from complete destruction. And as with many of the Marvel movies, Thor Ragnarok has a ridiculous cast. Check this out. In addition to Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston, you have Cate Blanchett playing Hela, Mark Ruffalo, Idris Elba, Jeff Goldblum, Tessa Thompson, Carl Urban, Anthony Hopkins, Benedict Cumberbatch, Zachary Levi, and Clancy Brown. God dang! Of course, Thor Ragnarok was massively successful at the box office, and it received almost universally positive reviews. In mine, and probably many other people's opinions, Thor Ragnarok is by far the best Thor movie that we've gotten. And for me, it's honestly the most rewatchable Marvel movie to date. Really, if you don't like Thor Ragnarok, who hurt you? In addition to just being an awesome and fun movie, Thor Ragnarok is also gorgeous. This is a movie that you absolutely have to watch in the best possible format on the biggest possible screen. I'll link the 4K Blu-ray in the description box below, which is definitely worth picking up. And of course, it's also streaming on Disney Plus, so you can check it out there. All right, we're almost done. Coming in at number 2 is the 2014 horror comedy / mockumentary, What We Do in the Shadows. What We Do in the Shadows was really more of a team effort, being written and directed by both Taika Waititi and Jermaine Clement, who you might know from Flight of the Conchords. The movie follows 3 vampires who are also roommates living in modern-day New Zealand, and it follows them as they just deal with the normal mundane things of life. I feel like on paper it would be hard to explain why this movie is as good as it is, but that's kind of what makes Taika Waititi so special. He's able to take a completely ridiculous concept, blend it with seemingly mundane events and conversations, but do so in a way that makes you roll with laughter, feel a real sense of connection and relatability, and also genuine empathy for the characters. Because of all that, What We Do in the Shadows was insanely successful and is really one of the 2 movies that put Taika Waititi on the map. Despite being a very low budget, small studio film with no real big names attached to it, it ended up being so good and so beloved that it warranted 2 spin-off television series. There's Wellington Paranormal, which is a procedural comedy series taking place in New Zealand, and there's What We Do in the Shadows, which is the American version of the movie, except in an American TV series. Both of which, but especially the American show, have been incredibly successful. I don't think What We Do in the Shadows is streaming anywhere currently for free, but I'll link to the Blu-ray in the description below. Okay. Before we get to the very best Taika Waititi movie of all time, if you're enjoying this list, do me a solid and hit that little like button down there. It sounds simple, but it actually makes a really big difference in how many people see this video. And if you want to see more lists like this, consider subscribing. Coming in at number 1 is another movie that I had not seen until I started putting together this list, and I am so glad I saw it. And that is 2016's Hunt for the Wilder People. Hunt for the Wilder People is once again written and directed by Taika Waititi, and it stars Sam Neill, who is the dude from Jurassic Park, and Julian Dennison, who would go on to be in Deadpool 2 and Godzilla vs. Kong. It also has a bunch of other actors and actresses that you'll recognize from other Taika Waititi movies, including Rhys Darby, who plays probably my favorite character in the entire movie. If you know, you know. In Hunt for the Wilder People, a national manhunt is ordered to find a rebellious foster kid and his uncle who go missing in the New Zealand bush. This is the last movie Taika made before being scooped up by Marvel to take on Thor, and you can absolutely see why. Honestly, it doesn't surprise me at all that this movie is rated as highly by both fans and critics alike. It's genuinely flawless. You'll find yourself cracking up at some scenes, tearing up at others, cheering for the protagonists, and even quoting some lines when it's all done. #ScucksLife. And good news, Hunt for the Wilder People is streaming right now everywhere. I'm not kidding. It is on Netflix, YouTube, Plex, Crackle, freaking Fubo TV. You have no excuse to not watch this movie. Go watch it right now, and then come back to this video and let me know what you thought. All right, that's it, my dude. I hope you found some cool movies to check out in this video. If you have any recommendations for lists that you'd like me to put together, let me know in the comments below. I also have another ranking video ready for you right now. You can actually click right over here to check that out. It is the top 5 Chris Hemsworth movies of all time. Go ahead and jump on into there. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. All right, be good.